Yo, if I had 100 sheep and one of them got away, I would leave the 99 and go find that one. That's right. Look from the locks and jaws of Satan, I come creating, penetrating with force from the land of the lost and coming like Muhammad got the devil on.
Greetings, I'm George Boss Ryan with the Get to Free Press in Valdosta in Lowndes County, Georgia. Nobody told me that this group was coming here to Valdosta. I understand that they had a press conference concerning the Kendrick Johnson case, KJ death. Nobody told me about it, you know, and I've been reporting this from day one. But I want you all to understand something. I don't care if nobody called me, and I mean that, because that's the calling I think that God put upon my life, where I be ignored, pushed to the side, shoved backwards, don't get the recognition, nor do I want it, don't get the support, nor finances to travel to the cities that I've been going to since 1975. And so this is routine for me. And so when you are called by God to do something, you just do it, knowing that the prophets, priests, and kings who traveled that great line of holy divine paved the way for me to go through all of this with a smile and understand that I come unto my own, and my own received me not, but as many as received me, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. And so I'm out here today. I've talked to some of these people. I have learned some things from them, but above all, I've learned something about the people that I try to assist here. And it seems as if though they are allowing God to use them. Oh, I can't define it. I'll say again, I can't define it, but I could never, ever treat people in my community the way they treat me. And yet, God made it possible for me to go to the Peanut Lady funeral, and on the corner of Park Avenue and Lee Street, I saw these brothers, and I took time out of my schedule. I didn't go to the Mildred Hunter Center. I didn't go to visit Brother Rose. I came to record these brothers as they walked the street. I came to talk to some of them. Some of them asked me questions, and I loved every minute of it. But yet, some of the people here in Valdosta who know me, some was out here, didn't even wave their hand at me. But that's okay. I know one thing. St. Luke 4:18. For the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he's anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, the recovering of sight unto the blind, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord, and to set at liberty them that are bruised. So when you reject me, that's good. I appreciate your rejection. My problem comes if I am rejected by God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I stand as a beacon of hope for the black community, and I'm standing by to assist the white right people if they will receive me. I'm not an ignorant man. The scripture says that Jesus said, I came unto my own, and my own received me not. But as many as received me, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. And so make no mistake about it. Jesus rode into Jerusalem. Some people don't get it like it was revealed to me. When Jesus went into the wilderness, Jesus was searching, looking for the exit, not a exit, not your exit, not the political party exit, but the exit that God ordained for Jesus to walk through. And on the cross of Calvary, Jesus walked through that exit, and he went on back to the Father. Ezekiel walked in search of the exit, not his exit, but the exit. And the exit of God led him to the entranceway of that graveyard with those dry bones in the valley. I wish I had time to talk to you. Y'all have a nice day. I just want you to know that you can't make me feel bad, because I have the scriptures of the divine source regardless of every video, everything that I've done from day one, since I came into this community in March of 1975. You don't embrace me. You treat me like Judas treated Jesus. Jesus kept smiling because Jesus knew what Judas was going to do. And Jesus treated him no different from he did the other disciples. And I say again, if these brethren would not have told me, let me repeat, I want you to understand me clearly. If these brothers had not told me that they came in support of the Kendrick Johnson's death and the family here in Lowndes County, I wouldn't have known a single thing about it because nobody told me anything. But all that's good. I want you all to know what it's like to be called of God at the age of 14 and he give you your mission. Ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. It's your mission. And blessed are they which die in the name of the Lord, for they shall rest from their labor. And the reason I can't quit, the reason I can't treat other black folk the way they treat me in truth, is because my God took me and stamped me in the book of Ecclesiastes 8 and 8. No man had power over the spirit to retain the spirit. And so I choose to walk in the spirit of the God that I understand. And so as I close with Isaiah 35 and 8, and a highway shall be there, and a way, and it will be for those the wayfaring men. Evil men shall not dwell therein, for it is prepared for the wayfaring men. And it's called the highway of holiness. And when you find the highway of holiness, regardless of how you are treated, regardless how they peer you in your side and everything else, you must stand until you walk into that, not a or that exit, but into the exit that God has so ordained for you. And I seek one day to find that exit so I can leave all of this foolishness, so I can leave all of this bigotry, so I can leave all of this ignorance, so I can leave all of this racist stuff and all these black folk who hate other black folk. I was fighting for civil and human and women's rights before KJ ever died. That's why I didn't wait for nobody in my family to die. I haven't had these problems in my family that I've stood up for. So I've been helping other people. And I know in the end, very few of you all will give me a drop of water. And I want to commend you for that, because I know that it's not you, but it is the God that I serve that have touched your heart for you not to do nothing for me. Because Jesus wants his word understood, that he came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. Y'all have a nice day. May God bless you. And above all, may heaven smile upon you. And don't ever think that I'm negative. God didn't give me the pill of negativity. God gave me the pill to say everything that happened, he ordains it or he permits it to take place so he could point his children and his people and his nations to the higher plateau. God bless you and heaven smile upon you. Peace in, not out.
Tribute to an unknown soldier, the author of eternity, in an allegorical setting. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action, at the risk of his own life, above and beyond the normal call of duty, somewhere in the Middle East, near a place called Calvary, a soldier stepped out on the battlefield of time, traveling from time into eternity, fighting with the sword called justice. And his first insurgents were sent out to seek the unknown, and were met by wise men, who had been thoroughly trained in all manner of military maneuvers, such as espionage, sabotage, and subversion, thereby being able to break every code of the enemy and maintain the secrecy of the mission. These wise men later operated under Shadow Commander, known at the time as a little child, whose mission was codenamed Everlasting Life. On the battlefield of time, he worked his way through the ranks, say 42 generations, but was falsely accused and abused by the enemy. But because of his importunity, he continued to fight with the sword of justice. He told the commanding officer of the enemy forces how his life and that of his comrades could be saved. But they laughed at his story and said, "We have power to heal and that live." He allowed the enemy to carry him away captive, but he kept faith in his fellow comrades. Though captured and laughed to scorn, he never relinquished his weapons. When he arrived at the spot called the Place of Skull, he stood bravely, though surrounded by the enemy, and thought of the training he had received from his commanding officer, and he was not afraid. The enemy placed him on a platform and took his garments, which consisted of a royal robe given him by his commanding officer. By mere strength, bravery, and some unknown ghostly song, he withstood the pain of nails being driven into his flesh. He was looked down on as a soldier, accused of being a devil and degraded as a man. Yet he never deserted nor surrendered to the enemy. As he was suffering and dying, he yelled out to his father, "Forgive them." Then he bowed his head and gave up the ghost and said it was finished. The man in charge of the execution wrote a title above his head in 3 different languages: Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, which may have been classified at the time, but has since been downgraded for everyone that would accept it. This great soldier was rejected, tortured, betrayed, lied on, brought to trial without a hearing, and sentenced to death for a crime he did not commit. Willingly he gave his life for the wrongs of the world, which was above and beyond the normal call of duty. But he never received a Medal of Honor. He was wounded many times, but he never received the Purple Heart. He was the greatest pilot the world has ever known. He even flew himself into his father's house and sat down on the right hand of the mountaintop, but he never received the flying cross. He was placed in a borrowed tomb and arose on the 3rd day. But we have omitted his name from among the world renowned upon this planet. He was a doctor. We refused to make an appointment with him. He was a king, but instead of us giving him a crown of gold, we gave him a crown of thorns. He came through 42 generations to abolish the sins of the world. Yet he was rejected and despised by members of his own. As he hung on the platform of time, we should have placed spices and gifts in his hand. Instead, we drove nails through his hand. He walked more than 72 miles to preach the gospel. And instead of us giving him a new pair of shoes, we drove spikes through his feet. He was a soldier that loved mankind. After his death, we should have considered a heart transplant. Instead, we pierced him through his heart. This great soldier was not an electric clock, but on the battlefield he kept his time. He was not a nuclear bomb, but his power was devastating. He was not the ringleader of Watergate, but he spoke of a heavenly gate. He was not an MX nor a cruise missile, but his love has cruised the world over. He was not sought out by the vampire world, yet his blood was good to the last drop. This brave, outstanding soldier lived as an angel, died as a thief, and rose to be the mayor of mayors, governor of governors, president of presidents, master of masters, king of kings, and will be crowned Lord of all. For his gallantry and heroic action, above and beyond the normal call of duty, we never presented him with the Medal of Honor, nor the Flying Cross, not even a service medal. But today we as a people should recognize him as a King of kings, Master of masters, supreme and everlasting comrade, beyond the wisest man's comprehension, and truly the Son of God. For his ways were not our ways, and his thoughts were not our thoughts. No, there is no metal nor precious stone. We can give a soldier such royal value, but we can pay tribute by living holy before him, which is our reasonable service. No end, but one soon to come.
If I had 100 sheep and one of them got away, I would leave the 99 and go find that one. That's right. Look from the locks and jaws of Satan, I come create.
Greetings. Today is January the 1st, 2023. I'm standing in front of the entranceway to Loudoun County school system. January the 11th, 2013, a student by the name of Kendrick K.J. Johnson was found dead on the school campus right here, for reasons yet to be determined. I talked to the father a few days ago, and the family is just concerned today as they were yesterday. The people here in Valdosta and Loudoun County seem too unconcerned. But the father, the mother, the grandmother, grandfather, along with certain of us, believe that something very strange happened to that young man. And the strange thing about all of this, without getting too much into the case itself because it's all over the internet, but the Loudoun County school system are above wicked. Do you not know that following that young man's death, the bogus criminal trespass that they issued on me, apparently because I was publishing videos concerning that young man's death. But who cares? No news media outlet have published anything about this bogus criminal trespass. The Valdosta Daily Times, WCTV, CBS, NBC, not a single one of them have said one word about what the Loudoun County school system did to this retired military veteran, apparently because they didn't want me on this campus publishing the truth that maybe those that were in the clique and among the slicks would not publish. Some of you may say, Ryan, why would you make such a statement? It is because I have documented proof that many newsworthy incidents took place here, but never reported to the general public. But I did. Why, do you not know that before they put me under a criminal trespass, that I was called by parents to Pine Grove Middle School when those parents' 13-year-old daughter had been hogtied, thrown to the floor, and hogtied like she was some murderer or criminal. That's right. That was at Pine Grove Middle School under the Lowndes County racist school system. They have a long history of unfairness. I mean, a long history. I could tell you about G.B.R. Middle School. When a young man drew pictures and wrote a note about an educator at G.B.R. Middle School over a decade ago, 2 decades, perhaps 3, to show you how wicked the Lowndes County school system and the news media refusal to publish the news. That young man drew a picture and talked about he was going to murder a white educator at G.B.R. Middle School. This young black boy talked about how he was going to chop the body up in little small pieces and throw it out for the alligators to eat. He was a good son, man. So when the father of that child was called in by the leaders of G.B.R. Middle School, by the principal, I know her name, but when the father investigated, that young man said that an educator was racist. And the father said, "Can you prove it?" The young man told his daddy, "Everybody knows she's a racist, don't like black folk." The daddy, being who he was, he asked a question. Who else knows about it? He said, "Daddy, everybody know about it." The dad asked him, said, "Can you point any other people out?" The father, mother, and the children rode around the countryside and listened to the children and took statements about that educator. To make a long story short, this is why that young man threatened an educator. Now here again, some of those students that were going to G.B.R. Middle School had parents stationed at Moody Air Force Base. That's right. News media didn't publish that. Valdosta Daily Times didn't publish that. TV station and radio didn't publish that. Just like they refused to publish about the 14-year-old girl when the mother and father went to the news media, handed them printed packages of what took place, and when they say she struck an educator, she got statements from the educator saying it never took place. Yet she had to go before Judge Ellaby. None of that was news here in Valdosta in Lowndes County. Lowndes County been getting away with so much dirt. On the 3rd of this month, there will be a press conference, international, I think, a former CNN employee. They're going to talk about this place. See, nobody want to talk about Valdosta because if you work here or if you retired here and got children attached to some halfway job, they could lose their job simply by a phone call from those perhaps in the news media or those in the clique and among the slicks. I know what I'm talking about. And so that educator was found at fault. She was reprimanded. I could call her name, but I won't do it. But I want you to know, the people that I'm talking about are all ready for CNN, MSNBC, ABC. If they had the guts and the love about black people and what they must go through here, they would have already called these people in to tell their story. Wait a minute, I haven't finished yet. Do you not know, back in the 70s, there was a young airman at Moody that they say hung himself in the Big 6 jail out there. And when I came back to be stationed at Moody Air Force Base, and an individual, I could call his name, but I won't, he retired, but I got his name. He don't live here, he live out west. But he said to me, George, that young man back in the 70s did not take his life. I got the article at the house that he sent me, and it said that he took his own life and he hung himself with his belt. And the people that was in his cell didn't even know he had hung himself. This is in the article. But this individual called me and said, Ryans, he was my roommate. He did not take his own life. They killed him. And that was many years ago from the time he died. But he say, for all these years, he been under stress. That's right. He say he was stressed out because he wanted to tell the truth about the matter. The mother lived in North Carolina. But until this day, no justice have been received. No news media to talk about that. But I talk about it. It's strange, y'all. It's very strange how God called his real servants to step out and get on the back of their ass and ride into Jerusalem to expose the truth and help educate the people. And the people we educate, they don't give a damn about you. Now wait a minute, I'm not being negative. But how many of you who have been watching my work since March of 1975 have shared my work with your family members, friends, and enemies? Jesus said, if you love me, you would keep and obey my commandments. And what is that? Love you one another. Now, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, when Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp and Governor Nathan Deal invaded Brooks County and arrested 10 outstanding professional black folk, the most respected families down there, on bogus voter fraud charges. Because they didn't want and they didn't like the results of the election, wherein blacks for the first time in history became the majority on the Brooks County Board of Education. To make a long story short, all of them was lies too. News media didn't give them the cover they needed and deserved. Her first trial, Lula Smart, the first trial that was tried, ended up in a mistrial. The second trial ended up in a mistrial. The third trial, they cleared her of all charges and later dropped all the charges against the rest of them, but not before one of them, a lupus patient, died from the stress and the pressure brought upon her and them by Secretary Brian P. Kemp, Governor Nathan Deal, who removed 3 of them from the Board of Education for over a year. And he later had to reinstall them and put them back on the board. And when that third case lasted 19 days, do you not know that no South Georgia news media was there to cover that like I did? And do you not know that when Lula Smart was found not guilty, they called the local newspapers and TV stations, and apparently because it didn't end up like they wanted it, they wouldn't even come. They wouldn't even come to a press conference. That's right. That's right. These wicked people, the wicked, have always turned their backs on the righteous. But I thank the God of my grandmother, who believed in Galatians 6 and 7, for God, Galatians 6 and 7. For God is not mocked, or you're going to reap what you sow. I'm going to leave y'all now. I just wanted you all to know that this is the first day of January of 2023, and this is, believe it or not, the month that that young man was found dead here at Lyles County school system, and that they put me on the bogus criminal trespass, and the so-called attorney who went past the bar, that's right, Attorney Turner, I think his name, haven't dealt with this. But this is not over, because until they remove me in writing, there is no statute of limitation on this, because it's still in effect. And one day they're going to find it somewhere in law to remove me in writing. And that's all I ever asked, that they remove me in writing. But they refuse to do it because they know that racism is so deep here in Valdosta. They know that the good old boy system is so deep here in Valdosta until the judges more than likely will rule in their favor. Brother Ryan, what you mean by that? What proof do you have to back up what you said? Well, they got me on a criminal trespass because they know I have followed the KJKs like no other person in the state of Georgia and the United States of America have done on the local level. And I sat in the courtroom and we witnessed Judge Richard Porter III sleep while listening to that case and ended up ruling against the KJ family for over $300,000. You hear what I say? The Judge Richard Porter III was sleeping while on the bench. What did the judicial qualification system say about that? What did the judicial qualification say about the judge allowing lawyers to give themselves their own oath in the courtroom? I'd never seen that done before, but I saw it in Valdosta in Lowndes County. Those white attorneys raised their hands and say, I most solemnly swear to myself that I'm telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I look, people in the courtroom say, what in the hell is this? When they saw the judge, Richard Porter III, sleeping, and how the judge was allowing those white attorneys to talk to Shavine King, people looked around and said, where in the hell are we at? WSB out of Atlanta was there. All your local TV stations was there. But they wouldn't let us in the courtroom. That's right. They didn't want y'all to see that. So Bobby Worthy, Justice League United president, when he came out, the NAACP district coordinator, Larry O'Hara, and other people came and said it on camera. The mother, Jackie Johnson, saw it. The daddy saw it. The judge saw it. I mean, not the judge, the attorney, Shavine King, we all saw it. Was that published in the Valdosta Daily Times? You will find it all over my site. Just Google Richard Porter III sleeping on the bench. Hello, somebody. You see, the Bible says that my people, I'm talking about God's people. I'm not talking about Satan's people. I'm not talking about those who dip in a building or in a mosque, in a synagogue, in a church, or a temple, or a cathedral. I'm not talking about those who dip and hide behind the holy name of God, Jehovah. But they dip. They duplicate Jesus. They imitate God. And they placate the holy prophets, priests, and kings who travel that great land of holy divine. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I got very little respect for people who say they love Jesus, who say they love Muhammad, say they love Buddha, say they love the rest of those deities that we all have created, in many cases that God don't know nothing about, especially when you fail to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I'm not down in them, please understand that, because I used to be the same way. I wouldn't stand up for nothing. All I did was clap my hands in a building of worship, holler hallelujah, hallelujah, and that was it. Until one day, I say I'm not going to play the fool no more. That's why last night I turned my phone off about 9 o'clock. And I apologize to all of you all who wanted to say to me, Happy New Year, and these are my last words for the year. I don't deal in game plan. I don't need that. What I need is men and women who say they know what love is all about and exemplify that love by standing up for what is right. I've been across the state of Georgia to 20 cities about Brian P. Kemp beating up on black, mostly women. And believe it or not, most people will not even stand up for these people. And it is indeed a disgrace. But my God, I'm not talking about your God now, but my God refused to let me just dip while those black women caught hell facing jail and prison time. And that's why I did what I did. That's why I was trying and still talking about the KJ case. So a lot of people done shut up about it. I never stopped talking about it. Why, Bro Rhyme? Because St. Matthew 24:35 says, heaven and earth would pass away, but my word gonna stand forever. What does that mean? That means the truth is coming out. Some of these children eventually gonna tell the truth. Now I believe that. They lynched Mary Turner in May of 1918 over there in Brooks County and Lowndes County because it extended in both of the counties when they killed 13 to 25 blacks, and nobody have been brought before the bar of justice in Georgia until this day, although one of the white mob members sent names to Governor then Dorsey, I think his name was, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. Because the ways of the wicked have always been among us. But in the end, what some people don't know, but in the end, truth, right, and justice will win. Again, today is January the 1st, 2023, and I am blessed by God to be able to speak the truth to you. Because I love y'all just that much, and you can rest assured that there's one thing that I will never do. What is that, Brother Rhymes? What is that? What is it that you will never do? I will never turn my back on you. I'll say again, I will never turn my back on the household of faith. You who really love God, you who don't play the religious games that you see others play, I respect you, but I don't give a damn for the ones who will not stand up. God has never used a coward in his program. Never! That's why the book says to make your calling and election sure. For when you do that, you will never fail. And not only that, he said many are called, but few are chosen. And I haven't finished yet. Then another New Testament scripture says, make your calling and election sure. For when you do that, you will never fail. So at my level, not your level, but at my level of understanding, just being called is not all of it. Just being chosen is not all of it. There are some of us that were elected. That's why Jesus said in the volume of sacred law, if it was possible, Satan would fool and deceive even the very elect of God. But there are some of us you can't fool no time. Now I want you all to have a nice day. And above all, stop lying to people. Stop making all these New Year's resolutions. Just live the best you can. A lot of these big old TV evangelists, they got airplanes and got train stations and all of this. If they can get to heaven with what they are doing and molesting little children, even all the way up to the Pope of Rome and the priests, if they can get to heaven by molesting little boys and girls, nothing done about it within the movement. And then, if I don't make it with what I've done to try to help and to live upright, if I get there and I see them there, because I'm a man of truth, I will tell God, I don't want to be here. Send me to the other place, because this can't be the heaven that my grandmother told me about. That's right. Only the righteous shall see God. Y'all have a nice day. I know this may be hard for some of y'all, but see, I understand, because I used to be just like you. That's right. I just dipped. Wouldn't stand up for nothing, just dipped. Wouldn't get involved in federal contracts and paving of streets, and so our children could get some of this money that all these white parents get that can give to their children and send their children off to schools and make fun out of you, and like the Indians come up, set up convenience stores in your community. and you just give them your money. They take that money and send it back to India for their children. Don't down them, but imitate them. You set up convenience stores in their community. I was riding through Brooks County yesterday where I used to be as a child. And I was riding with someone and they asked me a question. They say, "What's the matter, Ryan? What's on your mind?" I said, "Well, I'm thinking about how black folk worked out here on these white folks' plantations. And how we worked in their watermelons and cropped their tobacco and picked their peas, picked their cotton, slopped their hogs, slaughtered their cattle, chopped their cotton and peanuts and put them on stacks, made millions of dollars for them, while we were relegated to poverty. And then after we get paid on Friday, we go right down to the white man's store and give him all his money back." I was thinking about that yesterday. If we don't wake up, you guys, if y'all don't wake up, then you at least ought to speak the truth. You at least ought to vote. And I say again, I want to thank the publisher and producer of the new movie I called Vigilante. I'm featured in that movie. You see, the local news media ignore me. But the outside news media come in, they investigate me, put me in movies, send me to the home office of Walmart Stores Incorporated in Bentonville, send me to New Orleans, send me to Washington, D.C., send me to Atlanta, send me to Omaha, Nebraska, and other places. But the local news media, they won't even publish my story. That's right. 11 Alive Action News came down and interviewed me about Olivia Coley Pearson right over there in Douglas. Man, they done treated these people so bad. I'm not going to get into that, but I want to. You'll see a trailer if you Google Greg Palace. You'll see Olivia Coley Pearson in a trailer. You'll see me in a trailer. And I'm in the movie. I went to Quitman. I talked about Nigger Branch. I talked about the Mary Turner lynching. I talked about a lot of stuff. Now, they ain't got but a few seconds of me in there. But yet, all white people are not devil worshipers. You got some good white people. You can't find many of them, but you'll find some. Greg Palace and David Ambrose, Michael Steele, speaking in this movie. Black Lives Matter leader, Latasha, all in this movie. And by the way, you can watch this movie. Today is the last day that you can watch it online. Last night I stayed up and I published it all over Facebook, and Facebook probably done took my whole Facebook page down. I doubt that they're gonna even show this video here. They're not gonna post. You see, the wicked have always been the wicked. And the sooner we as black people understand that most of these people don't give a damn about you. I'm not talking about here in Valdosta now. I'm talking about throughout the whole diaspora of the earth plane. Because they know your history better than you do. You don't know the greatness of who you are. The white people know your history. And if they know your history, guess what? They know theirs too. And they know that according to scriptures and the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden, which I read and they told me not to read, their time is up. And they know it. That's why they're doing what they're doing. They know they're fighting against God, and they know they're going to lose. But just remember what the old saying is. You can't lose with the stuff God used. And I'm asking you black folk, as you go into this year, stop fighting all these wars on the battlefield. Yeah, y'all fighting all these wars on the battlefield, talking about the enemy, talking about the devil, and how he fighting against you. Going on out there on the battlefield, many of you all discovering now when you look around, you don't see no enemy and you don't see no devil. The only person you see out there is you. That's because you are your own devil, and you are your worst enemy when you fail to love and respect each other and take care of your children. Pull your damn pants up. But if you leave your pants down, at least pull your mind up. Bye-bye, we're gone.
Uh-huh. Yo, if I had 100 sheep and one of them got away, I would leave the 99 and go find that one. That's right. Look from the locks and jaws of Satan, I come creating, penetrating with force from the land of the Lord.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. We're here in Washington, D.C. All right, we are here at the Martin Luther King Memorial for an important reason. Last time we were in Atlanta. All right, so today we're speaking on the behalf of Kendrick Johnson. Okay, we're here with the family. Okay, we have Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Johnson, and we also have Andrew Joseph this time. Johnson, excuse me, with us this time. All right, to speak with us and stand with us in solidarity. All right, so we're going to kick things off. We're not going to waste any time. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce the spokesperson for the Johnson family, Mr. Jonathan Burris. Just going to give him a round of applause as he comes up.
Thank you, Captain Captain Mattathias. Kendrick Johnson, Stephen Johnson, Rashad Jones, Andrew Joseph III, all victims of a system that treats African Americans disparately, differently than anyone else. And we were told that in 1866 that the Civil War ended. But the Civil War didn't end in 1866. As a matter of fact, the Civil War has never ended. It just went to a different phase. The only part of the Civil War that ended was white men killing white men, because we know that lynchings went on for many more years after the law was passed, that we had equal rights, equal protection under the law. No state was supposed to pass any law, not by in their legislation nor by practice, anything that treated us disparately. Yet here we are in 2024, all of these names, plus many more that aren't here, have not received justice. The majority of them have never even had discovery at a trial. And so we bring up the Kendrick Johnson case because we know that Kendrick was murdered. Kendrick did not do this to himself. He did not beat himself in the face and cause all these injuries, this bruising. He did not cut large chunks of flesh out of his back. Stephen Johnson, let me tell you his story. His mother's name is Renee McGee. She couldn't be here, but Stephen Johnson in 2000, Macon, Georgia. Now we talking about Georgia. This is all Georgia here. Stephen Johnson was on his last day of probation. So his parole officer brings him in and violates him. Said, this is what the official reports say. They say that he had not passed a urinalysis. This is the last day before he got off probation. And supposedly when they were taking him in, he escaped, ran from authorities with handcuffs on, evidence of ankle shackles, and they say he outran 3 police officers and got away. And when they found him, they said he drowned in a river. But when we look at this picture here, we know that he did not beat his back the way that it is. We know that you can't run with ankle shackles. And we know that he's handcuffed in this picture. They forgot to take the handcuffs off when they said he accidentally drowned. But the biggest thing that came back was his toxicology report was negative. His mother still was never able to go to trial in a wrongful death lawsuit in the state of Georgia. The Johnsons, in spite of having forensic evidence, blood in his carotid artery had been injured. A judge dismissed the case and said, oh, they don't have a case. You know, all this evidence, which she didn't ever address, it was never disposed of. All this evidence, forensic evidence, physical evidence, all the material facts, they dismissed the case without discovery and certainly without a trial. Right now, the case is in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, and the 11th Circuit has every case law, every Supreme Court precedent necessary, including their own, that mandates that this case go to trial. The same thing was done in one of the 11th Circuit's case law, where the same Louds County Sheriff's Department was ordered to stand trial for deprivation of rights in an employment dispute. So if they had immunity, how can they go to court or go to trial for an employment case and not Kendrick Johnson? So we have to continue to get outraged. We have to be loud. It's ironic we're here in front of the MLK Memorial, and justice was supposed to have began, hey, we've overcome. We've reached the mountaintop. We ain't reached no mountaintop because they are still waging this civil war against us today, where murders are considered accidents. And if it's an accident, there can't be deprivation of rights. So that's why we're here. The Johnsons are fighting. Andrew Joseph II, he'll talk about his case and why they still are fighting even after receiving a jury verdict in their favor. Picture that. Kendrick Johnson, say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
And today we out here to put some respect on it. And when we put some respect on it, it's real simple. It's bow, bow, bow. 3 bows. What's his name?
Kendrick Johnson.
What's his name?
Kendrick Johnson.
What's his name?
Kendrick Johnson.
Put some respect on it. Put some respect on it. Put some respect on it. My name is Andrew Joseph Jr. I'm the father of Andrew Joseph III. The Johnson family has been in our corner since day one. My son was killed February the 7th, 2014. They introduced us to the movement. 8 years later, we had the opportunity to go to court. We allowed my 14-year-old honor roll student to go to the Florida State Fair. And while he was at the Florida State Fair, he was detained by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department. Never charged with a crime, never did anything wrong that night. They put him in handcuffs, they took his photos. The last shot that I have of my 14-year-old child is a mouth shot. They took his fingerprints. They told him, as a 14-year-old child, I need you to undress, sir, because I need to check you for gang markings. You're supposed to have something across your stomach, something behind your ear, something in between your fingertips. Of course, my son had none of those markings. It didn't deter them. They took his photo, put him in the official police car, drove him off the fairgrounds property, and abandoned him on top of the interstate. 100 yards from the interstate. without a phone call to anybody. As my 14-year-old son was trying to get back to the safety of the fair, he was hit on top of I-4 in Tampa, Florida, by 19-year-old Jonathan Hatfield. White boy, coming from the fair, going to the casino. You know, in my world, coming from the ball, going to the ball. Jonathan Hatfield wasn't given a breath test. He wasn't given a ticket. He was allowed to leave the scene with my little boy's remains all over the front grill like nothing had happened. We had to wait 8 years to get to court. It took us 2 weeks to put our whole family history on the line. And they went through everything. They turned over every rock, trying to find something sinister about my son. And we stood strong in those 2 weeks, and we came away with a verdict from a panel of all white juries that said this Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department was guilty and negligent. And 3 days later, they filed for qualified immunity. Meaning you can't sue me because I'm the police. I know everybody out here is familiar with our great orange president that just filed for the same type of immunity. That he can't be prosecuted because he was doing his job. We as the people have already said that he doesn't deserve immunity. But we still allow these police to have immunity. It don't make sense. Not in my world, not in your world. Every 26 hours, a black man is killed by these police. An unarmed black man is killed by these police every 26 hours. And we don't know nothing else to do but to fight back. We've been fighting back all our lives. This ain't nothing new. We had to fight back to live next to them in their neighborhoods. We had to fight back to get on the bus and sit where we wanted to sit. We had to fight back to take out the water fountain. We had to fight back to come to a public park where we pay taxes at. To swim in a pool where we pay taxes at. We've been fighting all our lives. It don't matter what category you think of. Law, housing, economics, education. Black people always last. Dead last. By design. By design. You don't want to wait till that 12 o'clock hour and this madness come knock on your door. We have to take action today. We have to demand action today. We got the power to shut this country down. You know how powerful the black dollar is. We got the power to shut this country down tomorrow. Because we spend all our monies. We the king of living check to check. Everybody that got $1 in their pocket should have Kendrick Johnson's name on that dollar. We can shut DC down today. That money needs to look like the graffiti on the train. With all these names that's behind me, and there's another one that's added to the list every day. And we're not fighting for nobody that's out here. We're fighting for those seeds that's coming through the womb tomorrow. For they won't be standing here. Because if we don't fight back, they will. By 10 times, they will. The numbers are only going to increase. It's our duty, it is our job, it's our responsibility as men, as women, as members of the community to stand up for what's right. And killing us, all these are wrong. These people didn't kill themselves. Kendrick didn't wrap himself up in a mat and beat his own face up and choke himself to death. They lied. They lied every day, all day. Kendrick Johnson mean to fight back. Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
What do you mean? Oh, Kendrick Johnson mean to fight back. You can try it again. Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
What do you mean?
Fight back.
the bottom of my heart, thank all of y'all for coming out today, taking time out your busy schedule to unite with this family, to stand strong as a community, and the world is watching. And we demand action. We demand results. This family needs to go to trial. This case needs to be open. They need a discovery. They need settlement judgment. They need mediation. They need results for their child. Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
And we're gonna bring up his father. You know, it's no feeling in the world like having to go to the graveyard to visit your son. To stand up at that wall and talk to your child, to talk to your seed, to stand over that graveyard, look down on the ground, and have a conversation with your loin that came from you. And it takes a special kind of person, a special kind of man, because this is built to kill you. This is supposed to mess up your marriage. This is supposed to break your family apart. This is supposed to dig in your pocket. It comes with a hospital visit. It takes a special kind of individual to stand strong. And that's what we have as an example of Kendrick Johnson's father. Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
Say his name.
Kendrick Johnson.
What it mean?
Fight back.
What it mean?
Fight
What
back.
it mean?
Fight
What
back.
it mean?
Fight
What
back.
it mean?
Fight back.
Me and Kendrick's mothers like to thank y'all once again for coming out to stand in support of Kendrick Johnson. 2 weeks ago, Vice President nominee J.D. Vance came to Valdosta. He spoke on illegal immigrants. He spoke on the sheriff's department, took them and his compadres to the sheriff's office, showed them all types of evidence that they are locking up criminals. But little did he know he was standing with the criminals. Not once did they show him any evidence of Kendrick Johnson. They like to arrest illegal immigrants. They like to arrest black and brown peoples, as myself. But when we are the victims of crimes, they like to turn their heads and look the other way. It didn't know illegal immigrants killed Kendrick. It wasn't a black and brown person who killed Kendrick. It wasn't an illegal immigrant covered up the death of Kendrick. It wasn't a brown person covered up the evidence of Kendrick's death. When it come down to white people being suspect of killing us and harming us, they like to turn their heads. There wasn't a single person, brown or immigrants, that was involved in Kendrick's case. So, do you think if it was a brown person or immigrant who killed Kendrick's case, who murdered Kendrick, you think they would have covered it up? This was covered up for a reason. For someone who was in power. Because all that evidence they had at the crime scene, they intentionally left every piece of evidence out of their reports. They reported on things that wasn't there just to make their report justifiable. Make their report look good. These are the things we have to put pressure on these people about, because I'm going to say it just like it is. When it comes down to black and brown peoples, they don't give a damn about us. Not at all. They have went through, I understand what Andrew was saying, they have went through our lives. They told Jackie in deposition while I was sitting there that I was living with another woman. They'll try to tarnish you. They'll try to do anything they can to tear the family apart, to stop y'all from fighting for what is right. They went through Kendrick's life. They tried everything they can to find some on Kendrick. They were so big on the toxicology test. They knew that was the only thing they had, and they was hoping that the toxicology test come back negative. So when the toxicology test finally came back, and it came back negative, there was lost hope. And then that's when all the attacking started of me and Jackie. That's when all the backlash about me and Jackie started to come forth. But it's hard to stand while they're attacking your personality. And it is very hard. But I had to keep my cool. I had to stay humble to show them that they wasn't going to win that way. So I humbled myself. And these people are so damn wicked. They'll try anything. You just got to expect anything that come your way, you got to expect it out of these people because they're going to do it. But we're going to stand because they killed my son. They covered up the death of my son. And I'll be damned if I be quiet. It's so hard to humble yourself and not go off the wrong end. It's very hard. Sometimes I try to work a little too much just to stay out of Valdosta because I know my mind wanders. I don't know my mind like to get off track sometimes. To keep the peace and keep the focus on them and not on me. I go to work sometime and don't come back for weeks because I know how my mind's wander. And it's been finna be 12 years. 12 years too long. And it's getting hotter and hotter. And it don't matter how much evidence you put forth. You can put forth all the evidence you want. But the wicked will continue to lie. He'll lie until his lie become true. Not this day. Your lie will never become true because we will always stand. We will always stand strong, no matter what. We have came out of the pocket so much fighting for Kendrick Johnson. And it's so grateful, we are so grateful to have Jonathan to come in and start helping us. He came forth and started helping me with some of the fees And Jonathan, we really appreciate that because it's hard. It's really hard. Me and Jackie appreciate you very much, Jonathan, because you stepped in. Unlike some of these attorneys, you stepped in. You said, Brother Johnson, I got you. You said, I'm gonna help you. You said, don't worry about that. He said, you said we gonna fight these people and we gonna win. And thanks to Jonathan, y'all, we give them hell in that courtroom. We give them pure hell. Because this brother right here have done so much for us. I can call, it don't matter. I call Jonathan sometimes 10, 15 times a day. I say, Jonathan, how about this? He say, man, how the hell you come up with some of this stuff? But I can put it in my words. Give it to Jonathan. Jonathan gonna put it in legal terms for me. He gonna do that. And he giving these people so much hell. Man, we really appreciate you, man. We really appreciate you. Because we have got further now with Jonathan. Further from the whole 12 years of this case, we have got further with Jonathan than we had the lawyers. He have brought us way further than a lawyer have taken us. Brother, we really appreciate you. And we really appreciate y'all for coming out and standing with us, because some of these supposed to be civil rights people out there, they are, when it comes down to Kendrick Johnson's case, they are afraid. They are afraid to even speak his name sometimes. But y'all stepped up for us, and we really appreciate y'all for stepping us and showing us support for our son Kendrick. We really appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Kendrick Johnson! Kendrick Johnson! Kendrick Johnson!
All right, so we're not done yet. We're not done yet. All right, we got Miss Jackie Johnson. All right, coming up next. And of course we're gonna jump straight to it. All right, we got the leaders of Israel United in Christ, Bishop Nathaniel and Bishop Yawasop, coming on up. Let's give them a round of applause.
All praises to the Most High and His Son Jesus Christ for giving us the opportunity to be alive in these days, to stand up for justice, to stand up to be the beacons that we need to be for our people. I will say from the offset that it is a tragedy. Over and over again, we constantly find ourselves in these situations and predicaments. Many of our sons have been slaughtered. Many of our daughters have been slaughtered. Many of the families are constantly grieving. It's a terrible, terrible thing for us to have to come and face time after time after time. And we are about solutions. That's what we are about. We are about getting to the bottom, getting to the justice, getting to the remedy, and bringing the solutions and the cure to our people's problems. But we must deal with the Bible. We have to do that. I want to show you these things first so that we can outline what we're doing. The point that I wanted to make is that, like I said, often when I take the microphone and deal in these events, is that what happened to Kendrick Johnson, what also happened to Rashad Jones, what also happened to Rasheem Carter, all of the brothers and the sisters that have been murdered, that have been vilified, lynched. I just learned of a lynching this morning in Henderson, North Carolina. I didn't even get his name yet. I just heard about it. But why is it that these things continue to happen? Because we do not see each other as brothers. We do not see each other as our family. And that's what the problem is. Give me that about what Cain's, when the Lord asked Cain, where's our brother? Let's read that. This is the problem, because we have to lay down how we got here. You got it? You know what I'm talking about? When he said,
Can't tell me.
yes, and he said, my brothers keep it right. Start with 8.
The book of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother?
Now, the part that I want to get to is that these were brothers. Kendrick Johnson is our brother. Rasheem Carter is our brother. All of the victims of these crimes are our brothers. But the question is, do we see them as our brother? Read.
And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
This is how we act as a community. We forget about what happened because we said it did not happen to us. Am I my brother's keeper? Read that statement again.
And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
The answer is yes. Because whenever we continue to move on this path of that, he's not my brother, I am not to be concerned with him. This is the reason why we're constantly coming back again and again and again and again. It's a terrible thing. Give me Psalms 133 and also one Zephaniah 2. But I want to make a point about something. Last night, I had the opportunity, or rather the misfortune, of learning about how much black and brown people in this country alone give to the American economy. Each year, I remember the brothers came up, the fathers spoke about the purchasing power, the economic power that we have. And no, economics alone is not going to do it. I also noticed and was listening to Mr. Johnson, Kenneth Johnson, as he spoke about Johnson, the family representative, in the courtroom giving the people in there hell to bring the proper justice. We on the outside cannot be we cannot be satisfied with just letting them, quote unquote, duke it out in the courts. Where is our support on the outside? Where is this? While they're doing their business inside, the families need our support. Meaning all of your support with, what was the number that we came to find out? $5.3 trillion. You heard me? $5.3 trillion. That was the number that we found as of yesterday. Give me Amos 5:21. No, give me Jeremiah 10. Jeremiah 10, let's get that one. That's the easy one. Jeremiah 10, then we get them other ones.
Sir.
Jeremiah 10. Why? Because come these holidays, if you really want to make some effect happen, because we were bringing up the point that we say Kendrick Johnson, and then we say, what are we going to do? We're going to fight. But that's what it's going to take. You're going to have to fight with your dollars. You're going to have to fight with keeping the commandments. People speak about civil disobedience. Listen to what I'm about to say. During the 60s, when our people were forced to sit at the back of the bus, and there was a measure of civil disobedience that caused our brothers and sisters to say, you know what? Since we're going to be mistreated, we're not going to ride the buses anymore. And they boycotted the buses. And that was very effective. I make that point because your unity is what's going to bring change. That's why the Bible talks about unity in Psalms 133. It says how beautiful and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. If we recognize that Kendrick Johnson is our brother, if something happened to him, it happened to me. If it happened to your son, it happened to my son. So when you ask me am I my brother's keeper, the answer is yes. Because it was his son yesterday, it was her son 2 weeks ago, it was another sister or family son a month ago, it could be my son tomorrow. So we have to learn how to be a unified people. There's a lot that we can go into this Bible to show you who you are in the Bible, first of all. People are trying to figure out why we're mistreated. That's because you're the Israelites. You're the people of the Bible. When we were brought over here in slavery on slave ships, that was an act of war. And that was an economic war that was designed to keep us impoverished, to keep us divided, to keep us destroyed, to keep us confused. But meanwhile, we live in that mental and that psychological turmoil. What are we going to do? God gave us a mind. God gave us a brain, gave us a mouth. Use those things in the order of the Lord. The Lord said, keep his commandments. You got it? Read.
Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
We're talking about the Israelites. The book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, verse 68 particularly, speaks about how our people were brought over here in chains on the slave ships. It's recorded in all the Bibles. Being your brother's keeper is letting your brothers know that. Letting your sisters know that. And once they know that, then it is incumbent upon them to act according to what this Bible says and repent and keep God's commandments. And when we do that, then we start obeying these laws. I was mentioning about civil disobedience. You don't have civil disobedience in the case that I'm talking about is simply not spending your money on these wicked holidays. You do that, you will support these families here. While they're fighting and duking it out in the courts, you can make a huge impact on this whole system. When Thanksgiving comes, leave those turkeys alone. Leave them turkeys alone. When Christmas comes, so-called Christmas, leave that alone. Because those are not God's holidays. So when you do that, you are operating up underneath the order of God. You're operating up underneath the protection of God. And at the same time, you will be very effective in achieving the goals that you set for. It's a very simple thing that we can do. But a lot of times we don't have the discipline. We don't have the fortitude. We don't have that brotherly love. The point of me reading about Cain is that we're supposed to see our brother as our brother. You're supposed to be your brother's keeper. You're supposed to understand that collective injury. When it happened to him, it happened to us. And you're supposed to spread that knowledge to your brothers and your sisters. Let us stand in solidarity and keep the commandments of God. Read.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain.
So the Lord is speaking to the nation of Israel in the book of Jeremiah chapter 10. It's in all the Bibles. And what did he say? For the customs of the people are vain. The Lord, through Jeremiah, said, hear this word that the Lord has spoken to you, O house of Israel. He's talking to you. He's talking to the descendants that came over here in slavery, on the slave ships. That's recorded in the Bible. So the Bible is your book. The Bible is the book of your fathers. You just don't know that yet. But once you get to know that, then the Lord will step in. The Lord is behind all of this. But it's until we come back to him, that's when we're going to get the solution that we're looking for. Read.
For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
That's Christmas. That's so-called Christmas. Here we come. So-called Thanksgiving is going to come. Watch how many of the same, like I said before, oftentimes we come to the rallies, we come to the gatherings and so forth, and after a few weeks or so, we forget about all of this and we go right back to our frolic and foolishness. We grown men are sick of that business. Where's the discipline? Where's the fortitude? Where's the manly dignity? Where's the love for your family? Where's the love for your sons and daughters? That you can't have enough discipline and enough spiritual tenacity to hold on to these scriptures, which is your scriptures, which is your book. Read that statement again.
For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
So the custom of the nations was to go into a forest and cut down a tree. Listen.
They deck it with silver and with gold.
They take this tree after they cut it down and they deck it with silver and with gold. What are we reading? The Bible. So the Bible is telling you not to celebrate this custom.
That's right.
So if we really want justice, why don't we do what the Most High said do? Do not follow the customs of the nations. When you do that, the Lord said he will return to us. But as long as we keep disobeying him and celebrating these high holy days, unfortunately, these events are going to keep happening. We're not here to play games and BS. We're here about the solutions, and we're going to give you the solutions that are going to solve our people's problems. That's the point. Read that statement again. They cut it.
They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not.
They fasten this tree with nails and with hammers that it move not. They use a tree stand now. You have your children running up and talking about some Santa Claus and all that. All that's demonic. You don't know what you're celebrating. You get with your brothers and your sisters and let them know that when you do that, you're breaking the laws of God and you're causing God to get angry. Now, give me the other one. Yes, Psalms. Read.
The book of Psalms, chapter 133, verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant is it for brethren to dwell together in unity.
You see that word? Unity meaning as one. For us to dwell together in unity. I dwell together with my brothers. I dwell together with my sisters. And we got to deal with that when it comes to our brothers and sisters all out here. When our brothers are getting slaughtered, when our sisters are getting, we got missing persons all over. I mean, we got a lot of problems, man. We got a lot of problems. Lots of them. And if we as men do not fix it, how could we expect them to get fixed? I mean, this is something that we really got to think about. How can we wear the badge of manhood and not do what men do? We see the problems that's happening all over our nation. Where is our tenacity? Where is our manhood to challenge and fix these problems and stand up like men? Read.
It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments.
Do you see how precious unity is? Because we don't really understand unity. Unity, there's a certain psychology that goes with unity. Listen to what I'm saying. I've mentioned this when we were in Valdosta. You see one of our brothers, let's say a hornet. Y'all all right? Sir. You say a hornet that's flying around and the hornet is down on the ground struggling to fly. Before you take your big black boots and smash on that hornet, you look around and caution. Because you say, wait a minute, there might be a unity of hornets in a nest standing by. You're only looking at one hornet with your big black boots. But the psychology of the unity that these hornets have will cause you to falter in your go-ahead to step on it. You look around and caution. This is what's wrong with us. There is no fear to kill us, because none of us will be like that hornet's nest waiting to help that brother. So we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. And we have to do it. We have to do it. I spoke about, real quick, I'll just end it with this, civil disobedience. You don't have to go in terms of the quote-unquote civil disobedience, because you keeping your dollars out of these wicked holidays, there's no law against that. They can't pass a law to say you have to spend money on a wicked holiday. They can't put you in jail, not yet, because they'll make up laws. They'll just make up stuff. Well, you didn't celebrate Christmas, so we got to run you in. We ain't at that time yet. Not saying that they ain't coming, but y'all get my point. You can do that. You can start with that alone. Like I said, $2 to $3 trillion. Come Thanksgiving, leave those turkeys alone. Come Christmas, leave them trees alone. They need to breathe anyway. So-called Easter is not. What does a bunny rabbit and eggs got to do with Jesus Christ? You know better than that. That ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. It was Passover that Christ was put to death on. Not Easter. Easter is a pagan holiday that goes back to ancient Babylon with Ishtar and Ashtaroth. That's what that's talking about. That has nothing to do with the Bible, has nothing to do with Christ. So why are we celebrating that? We have to be very instrumental, very manly. Go to our communities, go to our families, and tell them, do not celebrate these holidays. Just start with that. Just start with that. So with that, I'll just put that out there. I want to, again, commend the Johnson family. I want to commend all of the families that have stood up, that try to bring justice to this situation. and we are here to support you. Where's Mr. Johnson at? Okay. We're here to support you. I just wanted to make sure that I directed that to you. And I thank you for having the courage to continue to push, and we're going to continue to support. Okay? So that's what our initial message is. But again, our fight doesn't stop here. The word has to go out. The word has to go out. Not only are they fighting inside the courts, but we need to fight on the outside. It is only when you apply the laws of God, that's when things are going to start to move. Because not only is it going to put pressure, like we was bringing out, it's going to put pressure on the system. It's going to bring God in. And that's the kind of help you need. And with that, once again, I defer. Okay.
Thank you, Bishop. And we're about to wrap it up here. I'd like to add just one more thing. What you can do with fighting here on the outside is just a simple follow through. Remember, the pen is mightier than the sword. So, case in point, when we put in for the permit for this press conference, the National Park Service, the Code of Federal Regulations says that it must issue a permit and it must confirm or deny for cause within 10 days. If they don't deny it, they can't deny it without cause, but they can't just sit on it. And that's what this guy down there was doing. This, what I want to call it, he's a Gentile spawn of Satan. How about that one? Gentile spawn of Satan, sitting down there at the National Park Service, a manager making over $100,000 a year, and would not click on the button to approve the press conference. So what do most of us do? You can put something in 7 months ahead. If they don't click on it, and if you don't follow up, then it just kind of goes away. But when you start following through on filing complaints, number one, know what the regulations are. File complaints, follow up on the complaints. Get other people involved, put them on notice. And if they don't act, then you sue their ass in court. And you stick with it and make them pay $500 an hour just because they didn't do their job, just because they treated you disparately. $500 an hour or more will break anybody. I don't care who you are. Donald Trump don't got no money. Believe it or not, that's why he ain't paid nobody. He don't have real money. So with that, follow through, people. If you have an event and you put in for a permit and they don't respond in 10 days, follow up on it. File complaints and follow through on it. I just want to thank Israel United in Christ. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, so this is my Sabbath too. I'm no longer Seventh-day Adventist because they're a bunch of Gentiles who do nothing but lie. They cheat. Let me tell you, when I came out, my cousin brought us to the truth in 1988. His name is Ahilia. And everyone in our family rejected it except for about 4 of us, right? I didn't know my name until I got a real Bible. I say real Bible, I mean one that hasn't been tainted. And my name is Yahunathan. That's my Israelite name, Yahunathan, right? And Yahunathan means Yahuwah's gift. Nathaniel means gift from Elohim, God. So when you start to worship God, when you fight for God, he'll fight for you. So that's what we're going to keep doing. We're going to be loud. We're going to be outraged. We will not be quiet. That's right.
All right, so this concludes this press conference, and we pray everybody got something out of it. Hey, it's time to support. All right, and we're going to do that by keeping the commandments of the Lord. So all praise to the Father. Thank you for everybody that's came out today. The families, the bishops coming out, the deacons, the captains coming out. All praise to the Lord. Hey, let's continue to unite in these last days. All right, brothers and sisters. With that, we're going to close out. Shalom.